I love Cincinnati and I love Ohio, and I've had so many wacky times there, and this even this little like paragraph that I wrote in Hijacks and Hijinks, my new graphic novel in Feral House, there's a part in it that's from when we were in Cincinnati, because Cincinnati is so remarkable. For reals.
Very sweet of you to say. So you're coming here this time. It's a book tour, not a performance art tour, right?
Well, I'm doing music at Goods, but I'm also gonna be signing. I'm gonna be signing. I'm gonna be signing the comic book. I'll have that available. I'll have dolls available, which I'm actually sewing right now, and I'm putting them on my Etsy store and stuff, and bringing them on tour. But then here, let me give you all the information for everything, because I just posted it on Instagram too.
Yeah, people are gonna want to come. That's for sure.
I hope so. I love everybody in Cincinnati. Ohio people are genuinely like awesome and cuckoo, and they're just like up for anything. Like, we've had so many wacky adventures in Ohio. And Lisa loves Ohio particularly. Like, she's super into it. And we picked up this kid from Ohio. We were touring with him, and his name was Ohio the whole time. And he was really, really great. Because he was dancing and singing, doing all this cuckoo stuff at a karaoke. So she brought him on tour. And he kept cutting open his arm and getting blood everywhere, like every show. Like, then his stitches kept ripping out and like more blood. It was like hilarious. But anyway, so he's a real trooper. So basically next Thursday at Time Warp Comics on April 25th, I'm doing a book signing for Hijacks and Hijinks and my other books, which are the Meat Cake Bible and Handbook for Hot Witches and all these little guys, from 7 to 9. And then on Friday, I'm doing a book signing and music event at Goods, 1300 Main Street in good old Cincinnati, Ohio, from 7 p.m. until probably like 9 or 10. And I'll be singing songs off of my new album that I toured on the West Coast with as well, just last month.
Oh, I didn't even know you had a new album. What was it called?
It's called Electro Coco, and it's going to be available on all of the like newfangled millennial platforms. We just have to finish mastering the whole thing, but we've got a lot of the tracks, and we're we're uploading the songs one at a time the way they are. But the whole album is Electro Coco, and it's like electro, and then rococo, and it's kind of dark wave disco too, and kind of ambiance-y, noise experimental stuff as well. So it's fun. It's all it's all of my usual shenanigans, but.
So that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Come out, you do a book tour, and they get to hear music, they get to see all kinds of visual art, and they get to hear you talk. Like, you're gonna talk some stories from the book as well, I guess.
Yeah, I'm reading little stories from the graphic novel. I'm gonna read the part I think about when we were in Ohio, and I was surfing on a table with only my bikini on, and I fell off the table and cut my arms with the broken glass from all the broken glass everywhere, and then I didn't know that I was bleeding out because there was so much blood everywhere anyway that I didn't know. And then at the end I started passing out, and this cute girl and her gay boyfriend or whatever came up to the booth, and they were like, she's like, sign my book, and I'm like, what's your name? She's like, my name is Anna, anaphylactic shock. And I was like, oh hey, what's up, nice name. And then I started fainting, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm realizing all this blood that I'm getting all over your book isn't. I said, first off, sorry, I think I'm getting blood on your book. And her friend said, oh, that's okay, the DNA makes it worth more. And then I was like, that's very sweet of you to not care about biological hazards. And then I said, I think I might be fainting, and then I fainted, and then I had to go to the ER. So.
You went to the ER here in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We went to the ER.
Two years ago?
No. Like, this was on Suckdog tour, like, in, like, 2000. There was one in 2005, and then there was one in, like, 98.
Oh, right, so it was that one back then.
I think it was the 98 one. Because we also did Ohio in, like, 1992 or something. We do Ohio every time. We love Ohio.
Yeah, well, yeah, Ohio was good. So this book, you were calling it a graphic novel, but actually a lot of it is text, right? I mean, there's some graphic novel stuff in it, but it's like a full-on memoir, really.
Yeah, it's a memoir with a ton of text, but then it also has, like, some comics, and then one-off little illustrations. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, I've just been reading it because I picked it up at the beginning of the week, and it's like you said to me at the beginning of the week, but I've never read a memoir quite like it in a lot of ways, but one of the ways that I was noting was you have a lot of interactions with a lot of well-known people, but you never say who they are anywhere in there. You always use euphemisms for all of them.
Yeah, I'm not really allowed. Well, my friend who helped me edit it, she recommended I do that. I think I can do it. I think I can say what their names are on your radio show or something. But, like, I used the euphemism for Courtney Love, for instance. I called her the blonde rocker because that's what they call.
She was the easiest one to figure out because you said she's the blonde rocker, and she wanted to be your friend because you're the only person who wasn't constantly asking her about her husband who just died.
I think that is very rude to do.
Yeah, it's rude. I can't believe everybody else is doing that, but but on the other hand, a lot of people were interested in her husband, so that was sort of a clue about who she was, I think.
Well, yeah, but.
Yeah, but it is rude that everybody else was doing that.
It was, and then I called her the blonde rocker because wood chair that grannies sit in. And I think that's kind of her style. It's also my style.
Right.
As well as something that, as well as.
I figured out in there, the one boyfriend that was the millionaire, he actually called himself the millionaire all the time. So that was another one that was obvious who it was, I thought.
Oh no, you mean Tony Millionaire? He was never my boyfriend.
No, I thought the guy from the band's.
Oh, Combustible Edison, the millionaire.
The millionaire,
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
The only name I even remembered him by was the millionaire. I'd have to think hard to think what his name actually was.
His name's Michael Cuddy.
I knew it, but it took me. I only knew it was the millionaire.
No, it's okay. Yeah, he's always the millionaire, so that helped. Yeah.
That was fun, and there's a lot of great artwork in the book. I mean, all your comics are always great.
Oh, thank you.
Always in that kind of 19th century drawing style, which is really interesting to bring to bear on the subject matter that you write about.
Yeah, and well, I wish I could just go back and live in some beautiful, like, neo-Victorian fantasy world. And those illustrations are now available at Gallery 30 South in Pasadena, California.
They're selling the original art that's reprinted in the book?
Yes, it's available there.
Wow, so people can, I guess they could probably get that online if they can't make it all the way to California.
Yeah, they can buy it online, and it's just being represented by that gallery. And the information for that is, there's a bunch of links on my Instagram and stuff to it, but also it's Gallery 30 South in Pasadena. And the reason I moved to Savannah is because it already looks like a theme park. Like, it looks like it's like if Disney moved to Disneyland and Disneyland was already a theme park built that looked like Disneyland, and all Disney had to do was buy Disneyland, a old haunted house, and then like make it into Disneyland, and that's what I'm doing here. Because I'm
That's the concept behind the drawing style?
No. the concept behind the drawing style with the post neo-Victorian like aesthetic and all that it doesn't exist in reality, but it does exist in Savannah. And so that's why I moved here, because I'm buying a haunted house and I'm making a haunted house themed Meat Cake Manor hotel. And right now we're in the beginning process of getting all of the, you know, bells and whistles together and dotting all our I's and crossing all our T's to get it all ready. And it's been a 7-year process, but I think we honestly are going to get it going on this year.
You're going to open an actual tourist attraction there?
Yeah.
For yourself? Oh, you're
Yeah.
open a tourist attraction.
Like a roadside, I love roadside, you know, attractions and homemade like mom and pop weird, you know, art shenanigans that people just made out of concrete on the side of the road or whatever in Nowheresville, wherever. And I couldn't get like property or buy anything or do that in New York City, so it's going to be a total multimedia experience where it's a hotel people can come and visit, but also it's going to have an art gallery and all kinds of other stuff. And Moped Magazine and Goods on Main are sponsoring the event on the 26th of April. And I'm also going to appear in Moped Magazine on issue number 2, which is coming out later this summer as well. That Pleasant, he's the, I guess it's not called a curator, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, he puts it all together.
The icing on the cake.
Yeah, he's very multi-talented.
So Moped Magazine, so people are going to ride mopeds when they go, I guess, to the haunted house in Georgia?
Yeah, we're going to have, we want to have a sustainable haunted house where everything is, like off the grid, solar panels, water cistern, everything. We're going to have our own garden, all that stuff. We're going to have a mermaid lagoon pool that's like totally sustainable, because I saw these like little fish and algae and stuff. If you make pools this way, then you don't have to have chlorine or whatever. It's going to be amazing. And we're going to have all that stuff. We're going to have electric powered mopeds and bikes for rent, and all of this to be like super sustainable, because the beauty of Savannah is that it's all like Europe, where you can ride bikes to downtown in the historic area and the river and all this stuff, so you don't necessarily have to rent cars. And in fact, it was built in the 1700s, so all the squares and stuff really aren't that good for cars. It's not a really good place for like vehicles. Anyway.
So this is a real, so that was kind of lost on me for a second. This is an actual 17, like a house from the 1700s that already had ghosts and stuff even before you got your hands on it.
Yeah, well, we haven't bought it yet. We're just looking, but we've seen about a dozen of the different ones that we think would qualify for our price point, and that would be in the location that we want to set up our hotel.
Yeah, that sounds like an amazing thing.
Yeah, I've been working on it. We're on the 7th year of our 5-year plan, because things took a little longer than I thought. But at the same time, it's all good. You know, it's fine. Like, what's 7 years in the span of a lifetime?
Yeah, not that much.
It's fine, right?
That's what you're doing in Savannah, because you're not from Savannah.
Oh, God, no. I am not from the South. No.
But you went there because of the old, like a lot of old haunted houses that are there.
Yeah. Yeah, for really, really cheap. You can get a giant Addams Family mansion here for a box of kittens if your credit's good enough.
And did I read in the book that you actually are related to the Addams family?
Oh my God, I am. That's funny you read that. Yeah, I'm related to John Quincy Adams.
That's the other Addams family, I guess, right? You're related to the President John Adams.
Yeah, I'm related to John Quincy Adams, and I'm also related to John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah, you know, his whole family were actors. I did read
Yeah.
a theory in the book that he wasn't actually,
I feel our family has a certain perspective on him, and it's not like I'm I love Lincoln, and I'm really sorry about what happened. And one of the reasons I'm from Idaho is because my family, they had to flee and hide out in the middle of the mountains and join the Mormon cult in order to get away from everybody that was trying to kill him. And we think that John Wilkes Booth was Manchurian candidated, but that there was some kind of deal where after he totally destroyed the awesome trajectory that America was on under Lincoln's rule or whatever. I guess presidents don't rule, but whatever.
Under his presidency.
Yeah, that after that, he was then sent somewhere like Mexico or India or some island and spent the rest of his years there and had been a famous, super famous actor for so long before that maybe he's just over it. But at the same time, you know, we all know that Hollywood and the government and all these shenanigans are all in cahoots, and they have been since the foundation of this country.
Now, was his brother also a Manchurian candidate? Because, you know, his brother, Edwin Booth, was a famous Broadway actor who refused to perform in Broadway theaters if any African Americans were in the audience.
Ugh.
That was already against the law in New York even then, that he insisted that the Broadway theaters violate the law.
That's so gross.
So I always thought the whole family was not that great, but
No, the family was not that great that way. But what I will say is fitting in with the Mormon cult and how white supremacist they are, they probably fit in really great, and which is why they went to Idaho.
So I didn't know that John Wilkes Booth's, you know, his siblings or his cousins went out and became Mormons?
My great grandma is Mormon, and my grandpa is a Jack Mormon, and they're the ones who are related to John Wilkes Booth.
That's very interesting.
And I'm from Idaho, and I'm fifth.
So that means that they were probably involved with Mormon polygamy at that time.
Yeah, I'm fifth generation Idaho. But I'm trying to be a woke as hell, super feminist, social justice warrior, married to a black man to, like, you know, make up for this crap, because I really don't like that.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I do that, and I saw that wonderful video that you posted after the events in Charlottesville.
Yeah, everyone saw the Nazis attack me. That's why I did that, because the Nazis thought they could just pick on me, and I'm like, buck stops here, bitches. If I do this, you know, I like out them and I make videos with their names, and their women came at me all like, don't profile my husband Bubba. He's getting fired from the Piggly Wiggly. And I was like, oh really, bitch? Good. I'll post you guys begging me to stop. And I told the CIA and stuff, because I'm like, if I make this happen so that I call them out on that crap, then they can't feel that they can bully some innocent, sweet, single mom librarian or something that takes offense to Nazis killing innocent people in the street with the president also backing them up. You know what I mean? Like, if I call them out and I turn the mirror on them and I use the fact that I'm famous and that I have a voice through publishing and through videos and whatever else to shine the darkness in the corners of this alt-right, like, palmetto bug nightmare that's just like horrible here in the South in Crackertown, Georgia. If I do that, then they'll think twice about trying to pull that crap on somebody else after me, threatening to rape some innocent white lady they don't know, who takes offense to people being killed in the street. Like, this world has turned really, really dark, and this, sadly, like they said, is true. this is the new reality of America. But you know what? You can be the change in the world that you want to see, which is another reason why I'm very, very happy to create like a safe space for LGBTQ and mixed race couples like us, and for and a goddess reparations healing center for all these women that freaked out during the Me Too movement because brazen rapist, everybody knows is a rapist, just like, oh, it's okay, you can just be the president. Like, what? So, whatever. We all have to just be the change in the world we want to see even more today, like MLK said. And he also said, the road to justice is a long and steep curve, but it will prevail, because it is the justice will win, and justice is the only way. They'll always think of a new way to put people in slavery. They'll always think of a new way to whatever. But slavery has been abolished. The Jim Crow laws have been abolished. Women can vote now. Because those things were wrong in the first place. Because it was unjust in the first place. It was wrong. And so, the law of the universe backs up justice. It does.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Martin Luther King said the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice, and that's
right.
Yeah, and I also think it's amazing the way you mix those kind of ideas into some artistic conceptions that are, in some sense, sort of fantastical, like the idea of mermaids and being sort of a major theme in your work.
Well, I am a mermaid and I live in a fairy tale. But
it's a metaphor, right? That the mermaids, because the women, because that's sort of putting the focus on women from the shoulders up, not from the shoulders down, right?
That's cute. I love that. Thank you.
That's how I understood it. That was sort of like an aspect of the work that made it
Thanks.
feminist, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm a hardcore feminist. I am proud to be a hardcore feminist. I was raised by a hardcore feminist who worked on the front lines of social care, general public health care. My mother was a health care provider and a nurse, and she had to deal with pregnant women who had 17 kids already, or young teenagers who were pregnant, walking in through the front door needing help. And whether or not disgusting white guys who have money and don't have a vagina and don't have any business at all making decisions in this arena, say whatever is illegal or not, the women will still come in and still need that kind of help. And my mom was on the front lines of that, helping advise women in going to high schools and giving teenagers advice about birth control and on and on and on. And my mom's legacy is that she's helped hundreds of thousands of people throughout her 40-year-long career, and she told me the philosophies and showed me what true feminism is, and that's backing up other women, serving the goddess, and all of that. And that's what I do now, and I'm my mother's legacy as well, and this ain't a joke.
Yeah, no, I know. And actually, a lot of the work, a lot of the performance artwork that you've done, especially with Lisa, I think, but also on your own and with other people, has really been very much of a straight-up challenge to
totes.
Traditional gender roles for women in performing art.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And what I really love about the performance art stuff is that all of it's a ritual. All of it's a spell. And it's also, I studied performance art at the San Francisco Art Institute under Tony Labat. So before I met Lisa, I was already a performance artist doing that. And then I also was in Carolina Rainbow, and that was a total weird, immersive, performance art crazy thing. And then I was with Lisa, and now I just recently, because I've been we're putting out a new makeup line called Goth Mermaid in about a minute. We're putting that out. And we're also I've been contacting other women that I know who are witches, and they're independent business people, and they run their own stuff, and a lot of my friends are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s now, and I called them all last week, and I was like, okay girls, any ideas you have for ways that I could get art grants, money, funding, Kickstarter, anything, let me know your ideas, and I'll write them all down in a list, and I'm going to start checking off that list and knocking it out so that I get as much money as I can to get this hotel going, because I'm not kidding. And I got like tons of cool, awesome ideas, but I also started talking to influencers on like approaching different cute goth and new like girls that dress in like cosplay stuff, and like the mermaid community, the witch community, adorable people that do makeup stuff that are like goth or LGBTQ or whatever, and that I really like, and I follow them, and I started like contacting them and being like, hey millennials, can you give Granny some tips as to like how to make this stuff work? And they were like, okay, well, do weird stuff, do like anything weird, anything kind of sexy, anything kind of wacky like that, performance arty type stuff that's really like that. So then I started upping my game on that, and we just came up with all these fun things, and they're all in like the theme of like goth mermaid. So I did like I did this post where I was like fighting with my dolphin doll bubbles. I did a post where I was like crying cupcakes. I'm gonna do a new one. I have a new idea. I haven't. Anybody who's seeing this now is gonna to know beforehand. But I'm gonna go in the ocean with a mermaid crown, like Carrie from the the movie Carrie. I'm gonna go in the water with my mermaid crown, being like doing the same expression and stuff that when Carrie won the prom queen award. But I'll be in the ocean. And then, but people won't know I'm being Carrie. They'll just think I'm being a mermaid. And then have somebody drop like blood, this blood that I made last week, like all over me. And then I'm gonna be like, mermaid Carrie, hashtag goth mermaid. Because I'm all trying to like hashtag goth mermaid and create, because of what the millennials told me, all these tips I wrote down. So I'm like doing the checklist on those tips too, and it's like create your hashtag and keep kind of carving that same groove, and then people who also are connected to that hashtag will connect to you, and then that's how you get more hits, that's how you get more sales, and that's how we'll start getting funding. It's a way to get Instagram to get you funding. There's different ways too, but that's one way to work Instagram. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I hear none of that in your own music. Like I hear no goth influences there, and I was sort of wondering about that.
Really?
Yeah. You think your music sounds like Susie and the Banshees?
Oh God, no. My music just sounds like.
That in your music, but I see that in your visual stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think a lot of my older music with the banjo stuff or whatever, particularly, it just has like dreamy kind of atmospheric quality. But my new album is definitely like kind of spooky, and it's got this like electro beat that's sort of like, it's like a dark wave disco type of thing, and it's very like, like New Order influenced or something. Or I've been listening a lot. Like I listen to songs on repeat because they take me to another place, and one of them is this song called Lolita by A.R. Kane that I listened to in high school, and another one is Vienna by Ultravox, and these two have been on like my play. Oh, and like Alphaville, Forever Young, where they have these like kind of weird, pretty atmospheric but kind of sad things. I've been listening to those a lot lately, and that's kind of the influence of my new album, but not exactly. because it's just really weird. And I've been taking like singing lessons from my opera teacher and learning how to sing opera and applying opera and like singing kind of more operatic style stuff too.
The goth influence, which is visible in your visual stuff, that you think people are going to start hearing it in your music more as well going forward.
I guess well maybe, yeah, sure, I hope so. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if it necessarily matches. You know what I mean? Like
no, I know exactly. I like that some matches and some doesn't match. That's kind of what I like.
Yeah, and then like Gasoline, when the Gasoline graphic novel came out, in 2008, there's an album that came out with it called Gasoline as well, and it has a kind of dark wave undertones to it as well. Some of the songs. But I also like playing banjo and doing like sea shanties and having that too. That's my other genre. I really like doing like sea shanties. And there's a sea shanty that I saw that Key and Peele did. It's a hilarious, it was a little comedy skit, but it was these pirates and they were singing this feminist sea shanty and they were like, we say yo ho, but we don't say ho, 'cause ho is disrespectful, yo. And I want to like learn that and cover that in my sea shanty set, because it's really, really funny.
Yeah. And when you open up the haunted house, it's going to be right by the sea, right? So you'll have people right there to see listen to you do the sea shanty.
Yeah, totes. Yeah, we can do sea shanties. We can do all kinds of fun stuff. And then we're doing like a massive Gasoline graphic novel sale. It's only $5 on my Etsy store right now because they got remaindered and I have a bunch of them, but they're also they're really great. I mean, it's great, but it's like we have a bunch of them. So that's like another thing. I just Pleasant's reminding me to tell you guys.
Yeah. And actually, let me ask you about we haven't really talked much about the graphic art that you do, but this is a graphic novel. You're coming here on a book tour, and
Yeah.
you've been publishing a magazine, a comic book, I guess, called Meat Cake for
30 years.
now.
Yeah, I started publishing Meat Cake when I was 17, so it's been 30 years. That's scary. Like, if I had a baby when I was 17, my baby would be 30 right now.
Yeah, the Meat Cake is a
Wow.
mature publication.
That's kind of crazy. Meat Cake's almost not even Meat Cake is a millennial, but it's an old millennial, and that's kind of even scary.
Yeah, it should be out of college by now.
Oh, it's way out of college by now. Yeah, so bitch, it better start making me some money now.
So I've always thought Meat Cake is especially if you look, now it's established, but when it was new and even still, it's hard to see a lot of precursors for it. It seems very original and almost
Thank
like
you.
a kind of lightning bolt. And I'm kind of wondering if you had influences or if you just sort of came up with all that yourself.
I had influences, like Edward Gorey or Aubrey Beardsley, the pre-Raphaelites, Alice in Wonderland, the Oz book series.
That's something I noticed the most. Those drawings by John Tenniel in the old Alice in Wonderland edition.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I ever saw that really looked like, I think, like a lot of the kind of stuff that you draw.
Yeah, I really love that book, and then I also just finished a tarot deck with that same theme that we just put out along with the Mermaid Tarot as well. And I just really loved Alice in Wonderland and all that, but at the same time, like my heart broke when Reaganomics started, and I turned goth in the 80s because the 70s promise of the bright 70s promise that I was promised as a child, where cars would run on gasoline and everybody would be vegetarian and everything would be sustainable, and And then we'd live in this like world where women and men were all equal and all races were equal, and all this great stuff that was happening in the 70s that came out of the 60s that I was being raised to believe by my liberal parents in, and seeing on TV, like the shows The Jefferson and just all kinds of stuff all around me, like confirming that by living in the 70s when that dream was shattered by Reaganomics in the 80s, and still to this day has this stronghold that, and now they're trying to make it so none of us can remember it, right? But I remember, and my little heart broke, and I became not like a sweet little fairy child that was a mermaid to becoming like a goth and becoming very angry. And after that, I was really super into, you know, like that whole, like The Cure and Susie and the Banshees, the whole like that genre, because it expressed my dismay, you know, and now, you know, here we are in the future, and it's all still just this weird elephant that's just coming out of us, trying to plod its way out of like a swamp or whatever, and how I'm a child of the apocalypse. I didn't even think I necessarily, once we got to the 80s, I thought we were gonna get bombed by like a nuclear weapon, and I didn't even think I'd even make it into my 30s, but if I did, I wanted to become like a multi-millionaire, like all this shenanigans, right? That is why Meat Cake is the way that it is, because it's about stories from the Victorian era, the Grand Guignol, influenced by all this literature and stylistically from the Victorian era, because I was raised in this like Victorian house by sustainable hippie people that grew our own garden stuff and went back to nature, which is why I'm also from Idaho. But at the same time though, this like dark apocalyptic culture and this whole thing where we're very disenchanted with the Reaganomics and the government, and I could really relate to the punk culture at the time, that coming out of England and coming out of Southern California and stuff, where, you know, California Uber Alles and all this, where they were, through the music of that time in the 80s, expressing their dislike of the Reaganomics and the way that things were going, and that too was a huge influence on Meat Cake, and on my style. So that is why I think, even though it's modeled after things that are from the turn of the century, and being raised in Idaho on a ranch like I was very much like being raised in a little house on the prairie. And in fact, I thought that TV show was the next door neighbors, they just didn't have a truck. And I thought, and all of that, but at the same time through like a modern filter, you know?
Yeah, now, when you do draw in that 19th century Victorian style, do you consciously like look at old drawings like all the time when you're doing that to sort of try to make sure that the style stays consistent with that, or do you just sort of have a vague idea in your head about what that kind of stuff looks like, and then
Well, since I've been doing it for 30 years now, I can just pull it out of the air or whatever. But when I was first starting, and I still have all these reference books, but I have all these reference books from the Sears and Roebuck's catalog, 1890s through 1920, and stuff like that.
yeah.
To look at the fashion, look at the way like a sewing machine or a typewriter or a velocipede or the furniture, you know, would look. So I do have a ton of the references, resource material as references. And yeah.
Yeah, so you look at like Sears and Roebuck type stuff, but you don't always look up like old John Tenniel or Arthur Mackham type drawings and things like that.
Oh yeah, I have all those books. But the thing is, like, those absorbed into my brain when my brain was still like a mushy little child skull, you know. So it's already formed by that. Like, there's no way my hand can draw it any other way. And that's one thing I tell kids who are like, when I do lectures about like self-publishing or DIY comics or whatever, like in your style, it's like you choose, right? Either work inside the system, be able to do whatever someone tells you, or start your own style, start your own brand, have a distinct look, have a distinct brand, and be hired to be yourself. And people come to you just for your style. That's the way I do it. But I can do anything, you know, as long as they're hiring me to do my style.
The other thing I was going to ask is, this book is obviously much more text and not as graphics heavy as probably anything I'm aware of that you've done before. Did you like sitting down and writing like mainly a text memoir with some illustrations, or do you prefer to work in the straight kind of graphic novel kind of mode?
Oh my God. So the process of remembering my life, calling on my friends, taking accountability for all my insanity, emotionally processing everything, writing it all down. It ended up being 300 pages. Then cutting all those pages down. Some of the most important stuff got cut out, which I got really, really sad about. And then later on, it's just like bawling my eyes out because it got cut out and I didn't even know it. Like, this was like a nightmarish, torturous process. And I'm really, really glad I never have to do another autobiography again. Or if I do, I'll like be really, really old and really, really rich, or something's going to happen where I can just dictate it to someone, or I don't know what. But the process of it was like a nightmare. And I'm glad it's over. Feral House is great. God bless my dear, dear friend who died right before it came out. My friend Alan Parfrey. That was so sad. He died exactly this time last year. And like this whole time that it's been out, like he died right before it came out, and my book was the last book that he saw published on the iconic and epic publishing company, Feral House.
Yeah, that's the most courageous publishing house in the United States.
Amazing.
The most
Amazing. It is an honor to have been published by them, and I loved him so dearly, and he was so epic and so awesome and so unique and so amazing, and it was such a tragedy, and I was so devastated that he died before it came out, because he was happy and was already excited about helping me cross-promote it. And he was doing a little bit while it was in the process of being finalized, and then he died. And it's only been a year now. And what was really weird is right after I got in 2016, when Meat Cake Bible came out, the compilation on Fantagraphics, that came out in 2016. But right before it came out, my editor, who had worked with since I was 22 years old, Kim Thompson, died. Right before that came out.
He was your editor at Fantagraphics?
Yes, and it's so, now I work with Eric Reynolds. But it's just so sad that both these things happened with both these epic books for me. Like, and that, it's just so weird, and I don't know what that is, you know, or why that happened. But yeah, but I'm really glad I got to tell my reality, but I'm really sad that it got edited. I don't think it got edited. It got edited kind of rush job. And I'm going to say the one thing now that I really, really wish had not gotten edited out, and I'm trying to think of so many different ways I can include this, because when I was talking about the future, I wasn't talking about my future, I'm talking about the future. And in the future, one of the reasons I'm preparing getting this hotel is it'll also be like a safe house for the apocalypse. And it'll be a sustainable place for the apocalypse, because the apocalypse is coming in our lifetime. It's a slow and steady death. It's not like what we were told. And meanwhile, the computers and the AI robots are going to take over and get so good that it's going to be like Blade Runner, where the AI robots are going to be talking to the self-driving cars with their kind of psychic ability, but it's not a psychic ability because the ability is basically just them both being able to be linked to the same computer. And that people who are psychic are going to have an edge because they will be more like having the skill like the robots did. And that cell phones aren't really, they run by technology, but this isn't something I'm unfamiliar with because in Atlantis, people would talk through shells, like shell phones, using psychic abilities, and the phone itself was like just a prop to help them be able to be psychic, to direct their energy into it. And that in the future, since all the kids are going to be autistic, and so many kids are being born autistic now, people will not be able to understand the different or detect the difference between weird ass acting AI robots and autistic children. They're all going to act the same. So humans and weird AI robots are all going to have that weird, kind of autistic acting behavior, which is again one of the ways that I think, and the children are being born autistic because everything's chemical. And there's all these chemicals affecting our DNA and the fundamentals of like fetal development and radio waves and all the stuff going through the air right now that runs everything that we don't really even understand the concepts of like for the future. And that in the future, because robots don't have to drink and they don't have to eat and water's going to run out, or water's going to be like totally destroyed because the ocean's full of plastic, that it'll be a benefit to not be human because robots don't need water. And so the humans will be the slaves.
That's quite a future. And you had those predictions about the future.
And they cut it out. They cut it all out of my book. They cut all that out of my book. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. But that made me very upset.
So everybody who buys the book is going to need to listen to if they're not listening right now, they're going to end up needing to listen to the archive of this conversation.
Yeah, or we'll just take this video clip we're making and put it on the social media.
Yeah, because they need to get their money's worth. If they pay for the book, they need that part as well.
Yeah, the other thing that they did was I found when my grandma died, and I found all these awesome little comics I'd drawn when I was a child. And the editors took my comics, and they were supposed to be full page so you can see them, and shrunk them down to the size of a postage stamp so you couldn't see them. And when I saw that they had done that, because they didn't care about the they didn't take like logic and look at the image and be like, oh, this is too small. We should make it the size of the page like it's supposed to be so you can read it. They just didn't care. And because of that, even though my grandma had died, and even though I flew to Idaho, and even though these comics were unearthed just in time to make it into the book, you still can't see them. And that made me, I literally cried till I like almost died. Like I almost passed out from crying how upset I was when the book was published, because things are published forever. And that's why I like publishing, because no matter what happens, there will be my books somewhere in the world in 200 years, in 300 years, in 400 years, just like the books from centuries ago influenced me, somewhere in the future. And that some kid in an attic or some robot hybrid or whoever's going to be alive then could still read it. And that's what I love about analog, and that's what I love about publishing, and that's why no matter what happens, no matter what giant feature film gets produced for me, thank God, or no matter what amazing TV series goes viral or any of that, that's all real cute, but that stuff only matters now. What really matters is publishing and the legacy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, physical format of books, of records have value as digital information.
Right, records.
No value because it can just go away.
Right. And we're doing an audiobook right now in the works too. And the audiobook of Hijacks and Hijinks will include everything that was excerpted out before.
so you're reading the whole thing and
Yeah.
making an audiobook of that?
Yeah, we're gonna do an audiobook.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
That's in the works. Yeah, that's gonna be the next thing. And we're gonna put all my music, like my weird little atmospheric sounding music underneath it all. Yeah.
And you're gonna have to do another book, I guess, because some of the stuff that didn't make it into this book.
I know. Well, I'm gonna bring back Meat Cake 2.0, but like as a color thing, and we're gonna self-publish it. And I have so many new amazing ideas for that, and like new fairy tales. And right now I've just been putting the fairy tales up online to sell my dolls. Like I've been making these little dolls, and then I write these fairy tales that are sort of their backstory. And then I've been publishing those. And like I just posted one and wrote one yesterday that I thought was really funny. It's about the cradle to grave robber, and it's a dude who was a paramedic in the army, but it was like a while ago. It was like in the 1800s or something, and he fell in love with like a 15-year-old girl, but she died while he was gone. So when he comes back from the army, she's dead, and it breaks his brain, and he digs up her grave and puts her in the bathtub and tries to revive her, and until they apprehend him and send him to the insane asylum. And then when they send him to the insane asylum, all the papers call him the cradle to grave robber.
And this is a doll that people can get now?
Yeah, it's the doll of the ghost doll, because I make these ghost dolls, and they come in like boxes that are shaped like haunted houses and coffins, and I just put a bunch of those up online. But that story I'm going to make into like a Meat Cake comic. I've just been collecting all the stories, and then once the whole shenanigans with getting all the money for the house is like over and we have the house, then I can like go back to focusing on, drawing my comics and stuff more. And I can't just keep cycling around like a shark in the same shark tank, like being stuck like a dolphin at SeaWorld, like with no hope of like something bigger, unless I make these big moves and go to this other place where we like DIY, make our breaks for ourselves on our own terms. Because as I've seen through my 30 years of life experience, trying to break into the mainstream and become, deemed worthy by the powers that be that have the money or whatever, like who knows if that's really gonna happen, or if it does happen in the way that I want it to. Because even though you go there, even when you go there, sometimes you don't have full control, right? So that's why, and I expect to go there, so it'll be fine. Because, in one way, weirdly, Trump's bullshit has helped empower me, and women-centric content is trending more than ever now. So that really helps with my other plans, like with my feature film and stuff like that. But meanwhile, we gotta it's better to know how to just DIY it yourself, because at least I don't have to have a day job. At least I have the privilege to keep pursuing in our truth on our terms, and make our art and our reality without having to be compromised, and being able to be authentic. And a lot of people live in this world, and I feel really bad that so many working class people today are just slaves. And that's what Roseanne's awesome show in the 80s, when it was awesome before she turned crazy, was so cool and groundbreaking about. It showed the real struggle of working class America on real terms on TV, instead of some other weird fabricated thing. And so that's another reason why I was so surprised when she became what she became. But the thing is, like, someone like Roseanne, someone like Anne Rice, and by the way, I've met both those girls in person during my lifetime. They inspired me to be like, okay, I can write something, and then I can get it on mainstream, and then I can change reality by showing it to or reflect reality, reflect an unspoken reality that I as a witch and I as a feminist or I as a marginalized LGBTQ person, you know, underrepresented in society, as are many of my readers, I can give us a voice. I think that's what the purpose to Meat Cake was in the first place, and there's no reason why it couldn't go mainstream and be a voice, but for even more people. And all the kids nowadays are totally like me already anyway. They were just born this way. I was ahead of my time, but now I'm their grandma. I'm okay with that. When artists die, all we have left are our legacies, and our money, our art is worth more money than anyway. So my life is not particularly about how wonderful and comfortable I've been during my life. My life is about leaving the best fundamentally changing of this society and taking down with the patriarchy legacy that I possibly can for future generations of my kind. And that's what my current autobiography is about. Bless you, Pleasant. That is what my what Meat Cake's about. That's what all my art's about.
What a great statement. And I think on that note, you know, I've been taking a lot of your time. It's about an hour now, and so let's I think that's such a perfect way to end. And then let's just remind the listeners though where they can come see you in Cincinnati on Thursday and Friday.
Oh yeah, at Goods on Friday, and at the Card Thursday.
I can look this up too if you don't remember, but yeah, you're going to be here at the I don't know, I'm trying to remember.
Oh, at Goods I'm going. The best thing is the big show is at Goods on Friday.
It's Good on Friday, which is right on Main Street and over the Rhine. And then on Thursday, you're going to be at one of the comic book shops out in Eastgate.
At the mall, yeah.
Yeah.
And all the information, all the times, and all the shenanigans, unless I have it in front of me, because I have a billion things going on all at the same time. It's all on my social media. If everybody